Curry. Steph Curry they got injured with his
Oh, for
hamstring.
real?
But they still up 44-31. Will it show?
Huh?
Say, will it show if I put it down?
Yeah, you can put it down. Good.
Draymond Green. This is crazy.
What Draymond talking about now, man?
This is what Ivy League University.
Draymond Green, 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. Got 16 points at the half. Draymond Green is leading the Warriors.
Podcast need to step up.
That's crazy.
Create, go live. Oh, and we are live.
No. That's another thing too. I be saying the language. Like when I first left, I still be sometimes cause like it's Vini. It's like excuse me, and I be saying the language sometimes. I be like, damn, I ain't know them people don't know that. I be like da. Da is like yes. Da.
Oh.
Like yes. Nay is no. So I still be saying small things and I be forgetting. I be like, yeah, I gotta tighten up.
So you truly will live over there.
Mm-hmm. What's up, coach?
I like this way more, Mac.
Yeah, me too. I've been thinking about it for a
Oh.
minute, but oh no, guess I was tripping. Let me set you up.
See, we're gonna have to run these back, boy. We need an on-site barber.
Man,
Fresh line.
I just said,
Fresh
I just said I need to go get me go get my hair done. Cause at first I was gonna get my dreads back, but then I was like, my cousin convinced me like, no, you could do more hairstyles, which is your regular hair, than just trying to get dreads. And then also I came back, I see too many people with dreads.
Everybody got dreads. Everybody.
Everybody and their mama.
Yep, on their mama.
So we're gonna go mock interview style. I'm gonna interview you.
Okay. Hey, you wanna know this crazy thing, coach?
What's that?
When I was on the plane, or the day before I came on the plane, I tried to do like I wrote in my journal an interview to myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then with like some questions I asked, I said, nah, you talking too much. You gotta get to the point, but keep somebody engaged. So that was the thing that I was trying to learn to do.
He's trying to learn to do it.
Mm-hmm. Wrote in my little journal.
Yeah, we live, bro. Talk, bro.
Feels good.
Yep. Can you hear me? 100, 100. All right. So we just practicing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see you.
Coach?
Yeah. It's been a long time in the works.
Man.
It's in the making. And I don't say it lightly. It's one of my favorite people. So I'm interested to get to know you more than just coaching you in basketball too. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Rewind. Let's start that again. Got all that stuff. Keep talking. I want to hear my mic.
Yep. So
Can you hear me?
I said it's been a long time in the works. One of my favorite people, and I'm excited also to get to know you more than just coaching in basketball, because I tell everybody when I recruit them, I'm like, it's not a 1-year relationship; it's a 10-year relationship.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember your first words was because I was going to combine, and I said I already put some money down to like deposit. He was like, listen, I don't say nothing bad about no organization, no people. Only thing I can say is this a family, this different.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we're a family here. We know we're gonna have you for a lifetime, and it's bigger than basketball. And I told my mom, I was like, yeah, might as well, take a chance, because I like the energy and everything, and it was honest. So that's how we here.
So like you said, it's been in the making, and I just kind of rewind it a little bit, but we can give not the summarized version, but we're gonna obviously cover a lot of years in it, right? So when I met you after your senior year, from what I saw, was just a kid with potential. And anytime that I run into players, I'm always like, okay, what's gonna get them through the year? Like, it's not the talent, it's talented players, but like it's certain things that I'm looking for. And I remember that you had that after the workout. It don't matter if you make 30 shots in a row or how high you could jump or what the handle's like. It's like, do you have the resistance and the stamina to get through the program? And it's not just a 1-year program, like we said. So take me back a little bit, just like where you from? What's introduce yourself, your last name. What's the meaning of your last name? I want to know more about who you are.
Okay, so I'm Ronald Walton now. The third. I'm the third, obviously.
Say that last name again.
Ronald Walton Ly is French.
Okay.
So I did a little history check. I think my dad's 50th birthday. So during the pandemic, this is a crazy story. So during the pandemic, I was just like, getting more into my spirituality. My mom always said I was gifted. So the older I get, the more I tap into my gift. So I'm just watching Netflix or like watching different videos, whatever come to my mind. And my Melinda had called me. She was like, I want you to watch this movie. It's about like this guy who ended up, like she said, his story is similar to mine. So like he started late and started playing football as a professional football player. And he ended up getting to the NFL, but he passed away like the day of his signing or something like that in a car accident. But at his funeral, it was a book. And the book was the Pilgrimage. And something caught my attention, and I looked, I said, let me look this book up. And when I typed it in, that's when I was trying to figure out who my last name, like what was about my last name. And when I typed it in, it popped up like, the first boat that comes from Europe to America. It was like the Pilgrimage or something like that. And they had somebody's name on there. So I looked up the people's name, and they had somebody's name on there that's like Ly. But it was like ELLE, something like that. It was a French one. So fast forward to my dad's 50th birthday party. I ended up going there, and one of my cousins, my father's cousins, he do like the history background of all our name and stuff, because the Ly last name, it comes from Louisiana. I think, I don't want to say, but we have a town where they gave like, I think it was like 13 brothers, and they had like 400 acres. So like during that time, they really wasn't like slaves. They had so much land, but they ended up giving so much to the state, and they kept a few. And they built up a town and everything. And he was telling me a breakdown of the last name, and he said like one of our ancestors came over on a ship from France, and he was going back, and he was like, we got family and friends still now with the last name Ly, niece friends. And then they also got like a church out there, a Catholic church out there with the last name Ly. And my grandfather was a pastor also. Okay. So that's a little story that I learned.
So grew up, born and raised in New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah. Okay. New Orleans, Louisiana, in the heart.
And what age did you move to Atlanta?
So I moved in Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina happened, 2005.
Okay.
And I ended up staying here for like a year, and then I ended up going back. And then a little situation happened with my sister and stuff, so we had to come back here by our mom. So that was a good experience down there. I mean, I learned a lot. The biggest thing I learned that it took away from me, that still to this day, I had a football game the day of the hurricane, and I think it was a champion football game. And I had my gear and everything going, and it was like, nah, we can't go. We got to go here. So I ended up leaving with my grandparents, and we ended up going to Alabama for like a week or two. And we didn't have no contact back then. Didn't know if anybody else survived or made it. So I learned instantly as a kid. Like, I think at that point, that's where like my memory really just clicked. Like, everything in this world could be taken away in a blink. So you won't really have to like value materialistic things. So still to this day, I don't value that because I had a room, I had a nice house with a lot of clothes and stuff. So it's like if it's going in the blink of an eye, it don't make no sense to value.
So, what was it like growing up in New Orleans? What was that like?
Man,
How old were you? What year were you born?
1998. So
Okay,
I was
so
like,
2005. You 7 years old.
yeah, I still remember everything
So
too.
you can remember a few things. So what was that like? Just the household more than anything. Just the neighborhood environment. What's your neighborhood like?
So my mom, so my dad from the 17, my mom from the third wall. From the third wall, they the Ernals. Everybody know the Ernals from the third wall. And for the 17, it's the Elwise, and everybody know the Elwise. Um, Growing up, it was, I have to say, it was special. So like on my dad's side, this quiet church, everybody laid back. And on my mom's side, it's the wild, like they wild magnolia. That's what they call themselves. So the wild magnolia. And on both sides, you learn, like I was saying earlier, family is big. So like my cousins, like, or say if I'm talking about my cousin or something like that, and I'm talking to my friend, or they talking to their friends, like they could talk about me, but if their friends start trying to talk about you, you're gonna be like, don't be talking about my cousin like that. I'm the only one who could talk about it. So like family was important. Like we grew up where like if they had fights or anything, you're gonna fight with your family. Like you're gonna protect your family. So the biggest thing I learned is that family is something special. But for me, I thought it was like normal. But as you get older and as you look around, people really is not connected with their family as it once was. Like me and my family to this day, like everybody's still connected tight. Even if we go through something, it'll be for a little minute, but everybody still come back together and they gonna protect their family. So that's one big thing that stuck with me growing up. And
Brothers and sisters.
I got 3 sisters. I'm the baby boy and I'm the only boy.
Okay.
And
So house full of women.
yeah, house full of
What was
women.
that like? What's that experience like?
That experience that helped me see like the reality of like life because I feel as though women obviously rule the world. Like one thing that I learned, women and kids. So if you want to sell products or something, if you sell it to the woman or the kids, the man is automatic gonna listen because men want to either take care of their kids or they want to take care of their woman. So I learned that they some oh yeah also like my sisters my sisters, my aunties, my mom and my cousins, the women in our family they like they ain't taking nothing from nobody. So they on the standpoint to where they know what they want, they gonna get what they want, and they gonna accomplish it. And that's another thing to say about my family that I learned is whatever we put our mind to, we can actually do it, no matter what it is. Like I seen aunties, cousins, and uncles and stuff like that be like, I want this job. 2 years later, they got the job, but for other people, it'll probably be hard for people to get. So I learned that you could do whatever you want to do once you put your mind to it at a young age.
What else was it like, example wise? Like, obviously, put your mind to it, but what's some of the principles or some of the things that you saw that applied to putting your mind to it? Like, putting your mind to it with no action is just a thought,
Right.
it's just a dream. What part of it turned like that you saw as an example of like, okay, that's action, like that's what that looks like?
So from staying with my dad, like my dad got this house in the 17 that it was like his childhood house and also but he built up on it. He renovated, like he do construction. So he renovated, he do everything. Like he redid his whole house. He had a back part to it. And growing up as a kid, he used to always watch HGTV. So like I used to be like, man, what you just watching this for? Like he just sitting there just watching it because that was something he enjoyed doing. So he'll put his time and craft into it, and he'll be like, okay, I want to add this. He had this big fish tank in the center, so he was always like he see it, he'll envision it, and he'll do it no matter how long it took. Like I think he was recently he just turned a bedroom into a master bathroom, and he just expanded like the kitchen wall. He knocked the kitchen wall down, and he made it to like an open kitchen area.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how long it probably took like 5 years because he did the whole job by himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he just never stopped with it. He always stayed consistent.
So growing up between two households,
Yeah.
um, what was that like as far as maybe realizing, okay, I'm like my mom in a lot of ways, but I'm like my dad in a lot of ways.
Uh-huh.
Like, just did you recognize those things as being young? Because I know for me, sometimes you don't recognize it till you get older. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like somebody say, "Man, you just like your daddy," and if you don't want to be like your daddy, that's
Yeah.
resentment, or you look just like your mama, whatever it is. Like, did you hear that a lot, or did you recognize that early on, or is it something that later on in life you started to more or less recognize?
Oh, I think I started recognizing I was more like my mom as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I always had dreams and like visions and stuff like that, and I always like knew, like I know my mom. She always was like persistent, and she was a people's person. So she could go in the room and talk to anybody. It don't matter if the president, homeless man, murderers, whatever it is. Like she could sit there and she could have conversations with nobody, and she still stand on all 10 toes and stand her ground, and they gonna respect you for that. So for me to be able to like go across the world and still don't, no matter where I'm at, I'm still the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, he's more laid back and chill. So I'm not laid back and chill. Like I could be laid back and chill to like observe and stuff, but I'm gonna speak up. I'm gonna give my opinion. And that's another thing that like my mom, she'll give her opinion, she'll listen to you, but she ain't just gonna take what you say. She gonna challenge you. She gonna be like, okay, you say this. So I'm gonna see how you act and how you do it. And let's see if it's back like your actions. Like you said, actions speak louder than words.
So let me ask you this, 'cause that's a good perspective. From my standpoint, I think you are laid back.
Really.
I think I've always thought that, that. But laid back, depending what connotation, that doesn't mean that you're not firm.
Mm-hmm.
It means you laid back. So when you're sure of something, you can be laid back
Yeah.
because your stance ain't gonna change on it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're sure of what you want to do, you don't have to be on edge.
Right.
You could be laid back because at the end of the day, you're sure about it, which means that you are well thought of.
Mm-hmm.
You've thought about the consequences. You thought about the positives. Some people only think about the failures or the fears, and they live that way, and that's all. They can't make a decision because they only think, "Oh, what if it don't go? What if it don't go? What if it don't go?" But you've always had that little bit of like, "Well, what if it do go?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but you wear it in a way that's relaxed. So that's a good thing. So, I guess just to circle it back, some people might think that you're just like your father. You understand what I'm saying?
One thing I can say to piggyback what you said, I always did think like that. Even as a little kid, like I always thought the second option,
Mm-hmm.
cause like I'll think in my head, I could do this, but what would happen in the long term?
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that always stuck with me. For some reason, it was just like something just naturally installed in me. Like I didn't just do it to do it. I thought first, like I thought twice. Like still to this day, I think twice about
Mm-hmm.
what if I do this? What can I lose? Like if I'm ever afraid to ask a question, I'd be like, a no is a no already. So why not ask?
Mm-hmm.
You never know what may happen. And 9 times out of 10, and in my head, I'm thinking they're gonna say no. They say yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then doors open up and people do things and help in ways that you in your head saying, nah, they ain't gonna do that. Look, they ain't do it for this person. They ain't gonna do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know unless you ask. And the biggest way for me to convince myself was what I got to lose is already a no because I ain't asked. So I said if I don't ask, it's a no. If I do ask, maybe it's a yes or no. So and yeah, that makes sense.
That's good. That's good perspective. So the hurricane hit, everything changed at a dime, and then you move to Alabama first, or to
For like
Atlanta?
a week, and then we go to Atlanta.
Okay. So what was that? What was that transition like from your point of view, from your perspective, going to a new city under those circumstances? And I believe it was I want to say, what was it around? It was in the fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
School
has already
started, yeah. I'm finna
So
say.
what was the transition like? Like, how old are you at the time? 7, 8?
I was in like the second grade. I remember too. I just drove past that school, GW Northcote, over there in Riverdale. So we
Okay.
was in College Park,
Okay.
and we all, our whole family in this one like apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the biggest memory that I do remember from there is I think because when you come from New Orleans, everybody was like Atlanta and New Orleans, they was big rivals. So like they we used to walk to school together as a family because we all still young. So we got like a big family, and I remember like we got in a big old fight because they was like, oh, they from New Orleans and stuff like that. And I was in the second grade, and it was yes, I think second grade. So it was funny. And I was in third grade because I actually skipped a grade. I skipped the grade, but then later on, my mom held me back because I was still too 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 uh too crazy because I told the teacher like I'll figure out George Bush passed the law, no child left behind, and we used to have CRCT, and I said I don't need to take this test, I'm gonna go anyway, and the teacher called my mom. I scribble scrabble on the CRCT. She was like, "Yeah, your child is just taking the test and just Christmas tree in the test and just going to sleep." So this is what my mom do. She let me go to summer school. They said I had summer school. She let me go to summer school for one day, and then she surprised us and like she like just for that I'm gonna teach you a lesson. And so we go on a cruise to Bahamas, and she think it gonna hurt me. And I said, "Ma, you know this ain't gonna hurt me, right? I'm going to the sixth grade anyway." So after the cruise, we come back. She bring my sister to middle school, and then I end up going to I said, "Ma, this is where I'm supposed to be." She's like, "No, you're not. You going over here." So we go back to the elementary school, and they say, "Excuse me, ma'am, he's supposed to be in the sixth grade." And then my mom was sitting there. She took the whole day arguing with the principal. They started looking up laws and rules, and you could hold your child back for 1 year. Like your parent can make a decision that their child not ready for 1 year. So I eventually end up losing because she did that. So I got held back. But hey, at least I knew the laws.
So that was 5th grade.
Yeah, that was fifth grade. So I had to do the fifth grade twice. And after that, that's not like okay. But yeah,
that's principle though.
Yeah.
She wanted to teach you something, and what'd you learn from that?
I learned even though you got the rules and stuff like that, they still got other loopholes that is okay to do, but then they got some of them that it'll affect you later on in life because then you'll start looking for escape routes throughout life in every situation instead of just going through it and actually applying yourself. Yeah, I was a little lazy in school. Like I get all A's and B's the first half, and the second half because I knew you could balance it out. I knew I don't have to really put forward much more effort. But then I had to change my mindset about that.
What made you change that? What made you like first identify it? Because as kids, we look for shortcuts. Like even getting a B. Like if you get a B, you get an A. Like I think we capable of straight A's, but when you don't get a reward for it, you stop because you stop wanting to do it in a sense, right? It's like, and then it gets to a point where I know I'll speak for myself. Like I would get B's, and I'm like, okay. Now once I realized, I thought getting a C was almost like a failure. Then I realized you can get a C and still pass. I was cool with getting C's, and I was like, all right, well, I don't. You need certain grades to go to college. Well, I'm gonna get a scholarship. That was my mindset. So I didn't push myself. But the worst feeling, you can't shake it, is getting your test back that you didn't study for, prepare for, and you get it back and you read that grade and you gotta put it face down because you don't want nobody to see it, right? Or somebody, your report card come out, what you get, and you gotta tell them something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know, or you rush home so your parents don't see your report card, right? And it got to a point where I was like, I didn't like that feeling no more, because it does feel good to be proud of you, to be proud of yourself, So I made better grades in college than I did in high school. Because that was my mindset. So when did it shift for you to want to, you know, get out of. I'm gonna find a loophole and pass by. Versus, you know what? Let me just take the long route and get it here. Because like, when did that change for you?
I'll say when I went to Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy and also in college, because I was always a people's person. I always would like chill and talk with the teacher. Like I asked the teacher, "Oh, how you doing today?" You know, just having conversations that's not even worth school. So I'd be like, "Oh, you know, I like your shoes," or you know, just talking to people and stuff like that. So for me, school really wasn't like my favorite thing unless it was like math, science, history, and then after that, everything else I didn't really care about.
Let me ask you though, why? Because I never liked math and science, but
Mhm.
I'll say never. I didn't like it when it got difficult.
Right.
You start off enjoying it,
Yeah.
and then once you try really hard or something, my problem with math is you could study, stay up, you know, do the stuff on time, try really hard, sound out all your problems,
And it's
and get
still,
your test back, and it's got red marks all over
yeah.
the 50. Whereas in literature, reading and writing,
Mhm.
the more you write out your thoughts, the more whoever's grading it is up to interpretation. But
Yeah.
math is just solid and direct.
Yeah.
So, what made you gravitate more towards the math and science
Mhm.
versus the arts or the literature? Was it something that has always been, or was there an instance where you felt like, you know what, I don't enjoy that no more. I want to do it this way.
I think it was an instance because I realized that like math, science, and history, that's something that like we'll always need. Like each one got their own unique principles. Like math, you need that to understand how to count, how to not get like tricked or anything as you get older. You know, people, you got vultures and stuff. People talk fast. Like, you got fast salesmen and stuff. And you got to be able to be on your toes to be able to count and be like, hold on, this not adding up. Science, science could also teach you about life around you. And the best thing about life is you can learn yourself from others and you can learn yourself from like your environment and why your environment shapes you and everything like that. And history repeats itself. So history repeats itself. Two, nobody know how to do something until they do it. And three, we all have like similar aspects or similar roads that we go down, but it's just a different scenery and scenarios. But it's always similar where you could look like I say you could look at somebody else's journey, but you can't do it exactly the way they do it.
So let me ask you then, how does history repeat itself?
Cause it's you still have like small similar instances where it's like it's the same thing, but it's just
So,
slightly different.
and I'm asking not because I always thought that too, and then I heard something that history doesn't repeat itself.
Mm,
That everybody's one of a kind. That there will never be another you because the circumstances will never be exactly the same. Somebody would have to, for instance, example, would have to um, move to Alabama for 2 weeks before they move to Atlanta and get held back in fifth grade and do fifth grade over again because they went on a cruise and boo 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 just
Mhm.
to duplicate that.
Right,
If that don't happen, then it's not repeating
right,
because of the storm, because of this, because of that. So I always thought that too, but I really feel like we all one of a kind,
right.
and we look for history to repeat itself, but it will never repeat itself. There will only ever be one of whatever that is. Now, circumstances can repeat themselves,
Hmm.
but not to a T.
Right.
There's always going to be something in that circumstance, a variable that throws the whole circumstance and makes it not exactly that. So does history really ever repeat itself?
Nah, not really. It's like to say what you're saying. It's like when you throw a rock in the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
the whole wave of the ocean, wait, the whole wavelength of the ocean gonna be changed. Like the ripple that you put is not gonna be the same ripple. Every ripple is gonna be different, pretty much.
It's like a fingerprint.
Yeah, of a fingerprint.
Everybody's is one of a kind. So Like when I heard that, and this wasn't long ago, kind of like embracing that. You know what I mean? That we are one of a kind. That this is a once in a lifetime experience that we experiencing right now, and whatever we go through is just our testimony. There will only ever be one. You could be. I'm the third of my name, Robert Johnson. The My father's Robert Johnson. My grandfather's Robert Johnson. His father might have been Robert Johnson. The Johnsons might have came from wherever they came from. It was a plantation and whoop, but I'm the only one living my experience.
Right.
So just because I have the same name doesn't mean we the same person. Now there's aspects of the spirit that you tap into because I feel like that's DNA.
Right.
So you tap into stuff that's of
Already
you.
in you.
You know, you understand what I'm saying? But you know, the uniqueness of the individual person, that's what makes us unique humans in the first place.
I think I learned that 2020 during the pandemic. Like one day I just woke up because I was looking at the time period. Like I was in the car and I told myself, I said, you know, the pandemic could be two things. It could be good for God angels, for them to realize and wake up, or it could be the same for humanity. Because during the pandemic, you have that's the only time during our lifetime where everybody was on the same level. Everybody realized that like time is money and like money is time, because no matter how much money you had, you couldn't do nothing. But you had so much time, and people were so eager to like spend their time and just trying to figure out like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But the only thing we could do was sit inside, and we couldn't do nothing but just be still. So that's when I learned like being more with myself, that everybody not the same. Because once you start looking on social media and seeing what people doing, you're like, how you didn't think that? Like that's like common sense for me, but it's not so common for everybody else.
Well, see, I feel a little different about that because I couldn't stay inside. I feel like when things started to shift, outside is always open. You can always go on a walk.
Right.
You can always get on the floor and do push-ups. Oh, the gym is closed. I can't work out. Do your core.
Right.
Do your push-ups. Do your body holds. That's why we have the body work concept. You know, now like it's more Eastern thought process than it is but that's all exterior. Outside is always I'm gonna go on a walk. Right. I'm not gonna close it down and say no, you cannot walk down the street.
Right.
I'm gonna go on a walk. The weather, even though it was a pandemic and people weren't healthy, the weather still, the sunrise, falls, right? I'm in the airport yesterday and I'm seeing people coughing and sneezing and doing this and doing that. So what the pandemic did is it says, you know what? If you ain't feeling good, stay home from work. Instead of you coughing and shaking 100 hands today, how about you stay home, work from home, tap in, and we got this thing that's due. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Like it shifted the expectation. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you are unhealthy, and I know even it took me maybe 5 years after, which is now, to realize what it teaches you in that moment. Because you're just going. But I hate getting sick. And I probably had COVID, what was it called, COVID-19? I had it in 2019 without even knowing that that's what it was called.
No, because one day my nephew, he was staying with us, and he came home and he was real sick, and he got everybody else sick in the house, and then so we all got sick, but we didn't think nothing of it. We just like, okay, we just got sick. Then after that, that's when COVID happened, and we didn't get sick after that.
It was a lot, you know, so a lot of it political, a lot of it agenda pushing. Who knows? I feel like there's underworlds and powers above that have certain things they're trying to put in place and test and all of that, and that's a different conversation, probably.
That's different. Yeah.
But the main thing is when you are unhealthy or sick, you're only thinking about getting healthy. But when you are healthy,
you don't think about getting healthy no more.
Getting wealthy. People think about money so much until their health is the number one priority. Then they think about that. Oh, let me go drink my water, go do this or go do that. But why not think about your health when you are healthy?
You know, I could say this for a spiritual ass point. I mean, spiritual perspective. I always told myself this. We all pray. So when you pray, people pray once things start happening. And just think about it like this. If everybody praying only when things start happening, it's a long list of prayers. That's why it's in God's time and not man-made time. Why not pray and give thanks beforehand? So even when it do happen, so if something happened 3 months from now, if I'm already praying and giving thanks and everything on a daily basis, when that happens, it's gonna be perfect timing.
Or if it don't happen.
Or even if it don't happen, it's still gonna be perfect timing because it's gonna be God's timing, not my timing. So I could be praying for something, like I could be the TSF house, having a situation like this. Been praying for this for years, probably 5+ years. It didn't happen when I expected it to happen. But either way it go, it's still happening. The only thing I had to do was have blind faith and keep pushing and keep going and continue to pray and know that it's gonna happen.
And to work on ourselves, like to have the capacity for when it do happen. Like we can pray for something, but we don't pray for the capacity when we get it to maintain it.
Right.
So we get it and we don't know what to do with it because we didn't think about that part. We just thought about getting it. So like you said, it's like, is it the universe, is it God? Whatever power that puts these things together, it's not going to happen when it's not the right time.
Right.
And when it is the right time, how long is the right time, I feel like is on the human. Because that God's spirit is deep within us. So he put it out there, but if you don't water it, just like a plant, it's going to die. You understand what I'm saying? So anything with your gift, anything with your craft, or anything now, certain aspects can happen and you could not wake up tomorrow, or you could, take the wrong step and something happen. Like that's the universe that just happens sometimes.
Yeah, it just happened.
Right? But I feel like we're in a lot more control than we feel like. Like that's the power of being humans. Is that we are in control of what we do with what's in front of us. We ain't in control of the weather.
No.
But we in control of, how maybe we adjust this, or let me do this on time, get this on time, and maybe, you understand what I'm saying? And certain things will distract us from staying on that line.
Right.
And when you get distracted, and now instead of you inheriting something that was here for you, just like playing Sonic, and these coins is right here, you way over here, and you missed out on these, and by the time you get back, you still here, but you still missed out on this change right here. Now, can you get it moving forward? Of course. You don't even know what you missed on.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing that applies to sports, like just investing in yourself, training. Like, I'm proud of you here for a month to train, and you investing in the long-term version of yourself, right? A lot of people, they don't invest in that type of stuff, but they'll invest in, I want this type of gold. I don't want, I don't want 18 karat. Let me get 24 karat. It's an investment. I don't want this car with this, V6. I need the V8 or whatever. They'll invest in outwardly things, but they don't invest in the part of them that gets to experience the outward things. You understand what I'm saying? So, I think just with everything, just with how we think about things and what we have to feel like we deserve also. And deserve is a tricky word because you can't sit back and think that you deserve something. I deserve because I am going to stay on that line, so I deserve to at least see what's in front of me on this line. And if whatever line I'm on, that's what I deserve. You get out. So religion is more of a lifestyle. It's more of a what you're about than what you say that you are. You understand what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying, because I'm more spiritual than anything. Because it's like one thing that don't lie is the energy. So like you could come to me, you could tell me everything from a book or everything from different places, and you could talk real smooth. You could move your body and everything. But the biggest thing is energy don't lie. Like you could go to a meeting or a party or something, and you could be like, man, I'm ready to go home. I don't like this. Or you could go walking and you talking with a homeless person and you feeling calm and relaxed. And you just sitting there talking and you speaking because the energy is good. If the energy is good and the energy is there, you're gonna want to continue to stay there.
But what about we also have the power to shift the energy around us,
Oh yeah.
even if it's off.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I had to learn. You can see something I don't like that I don't like the energy, or you can notice the energy is off and see how you can shift it just by shifting yours, because maybe we're going into something defensive already. Maybe we're going into something to judgmental or to see somebody's energy off. You don't know why that energy is off. You don't know why that kid showed up to practice and
Like that.
is looking like that, or that player has anxiety when you don't know the why, and you might not necessarily have to ask why, but you might be able to change
Influence them.
the circumstance or the energy just by shifting yours, right? So
Right.
somebody, having a bad day, head down, will be like, or you could, like you said, how you used to be with your teachers, ask them different stuff,
Yeah.
notice different stuff. You know what I mean? So
That's one thing that I do also. Like that's one thing that I learned that I do. Like as you speaking about it, I do like if I feel like someone is like down and stuff, I just ask like simple questions because, like you say, everybody got a life that they going through than the little facade that they put up for the real world. Everybody got mental aspects and problems that they have that they won't like to share. And the biggest thing is it never hurts just to ask how you doing today. Because most people you could be with somebody for like a whole year and nobody never asks them how they doing, like how you feel. And you can just ask that simple question and they'll be like, damn, somebody actually care about me. Compared to I'm just doing this and I'm just there because, like this is my job or this is what I have to do. So I learned that too. I learned that all in California with my cousin. Like I learned that.
We're gonna pause here for the trial and the segue. And see what we got. Conversation could go. We live.
Oh.
Because we'll get it back to hoop, but I got this food on the way for the boys. That's the only reason. Yeah, but all right. So we can, like I said, we'll catch up and we'll have plenty of these conversations. But to loop it back about the journey from we stopped at, got held back in 5th grade.
Yes, 5th grade.
So I want to know more about what that second year of the 5th grade was like. What was the difference between that, if you remember any, and then when did you get introduced or to really loving the game of basketball? Was it still football? What was kind of the transition as far as just sports and athletics go?
This story right here. So I think that second year I was in like Lovejoy area, but then I get held back and I end up going to Riverdale again. But I end up going to Point South. I went to Point South Elementary School, and I remember my my first day there. I end up going to New Orleans for the first half of the year, and I stayed with my auntie. And
this is what, 6th grade?
This 5th grade. It's still 5th grade. Okay. So I ended up going to New Orleans for the first half. So from summertime to first half, and I was there with my cousin and stuff like that, and everything was good. But I also was I was bad. Like I used to have anger management problems. That's how I'm so calm now. So people think I'm so calm because I'm just always like, and I was bad. So like I used to always get in fights. Okay. And I used to like black out and stuff like, but when someone touched me or do something, like try to, like we could argue. But as soon as you touch me, then that's an obligation for me to hit you. So I end up getting in a fight. I think that was the last day it snowed in New Orleans. And I ended up getting in a fight because a kid put like a thumbtack under my jacket on the seat. And he thought it was funny. So I like, man, why would you do that? And then so I just hit him and we just started fighting. So I go to the principal office. They give me anger management. They talk about, because you need to stop fighting and stuff like that. And after that same day, my sister get in this situation in her high school, and she get in trouble, she get locked up or whatever, and my my mom like, y'all coming back to Atlanta now, and I'm like, no, 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 I want to stay down here. So I end up coming back to Atlanta, and I go to school in Riverdale, and I end up getting another fight the first day there, cause the dude
First day of school.
yeah, cause they talk about, oh, you from New Orleans, we don't like people from New Orleans, and so I'm like, all right, yeah, keep talking. So we in line in art, and the kid pushed me, and I just turned around and I started beating him up, and then everybody else they was mad at me and stuff, like all his friends, and I come back to school, everybody like, oh, what's up, and everybody want to be friends. And then so I learned that, and I going through anger management class, learned how to breathe and count and everything, being in the moment. And I still was playing football. I think I was playing football for the Panthers out there in Adamsville Panthers. And I played football in middle school. I tried out for middle school. I think sixth grade, seventh grade, no, sixth grade maybe. This when my career retired, so I never forget. You know that Oklahoma drill, you on your back? I'm going up against, now I'm skinny. I'm a quarterback. I'm going up against a guy 6'3", like 200 and some pounds. He like a D and a lineman. Man, I lowered my shoulder. He hurt my shoulder. I turned around. I said, I quit. I took this girl. I said, I'm not about to do this for the rest of my life. So I walked off the football field practice. The coach was like, where you going? I said, I'm going home. I quit this. I ain't doing this no more. I said, man, y'all must be crazy. You think I'm about to give up my body like this? I said, this stuff hurt. Because I think a week before that, or like a month before that, I ended up cracking my ribs in the game. And I'm like, man, yeah, I said, this ain't for me. I'm too skinny. And then, so from there, from like 7th and 8th grade, every time I see the principal, he was like, you need to play basketball. Because I was always tall. I was like 6'2", in like the 7th grade. So he was like, you need to play basketball. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I ain't play basketball. The only way I get to basketball was 9th grade. It was the last day of tryouts. My friends, everybody telling me, my mom then called the coach. And he was like, they said you go try out. So I missed the first day. And I go the second day. And he was like, no, you can't go because you didn't come the first day. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, he just told me I can't go. She was like, who told you that? I said, the coach. She was like, no, I just talked to that coach. I'm talking about the man just told me. She was like, I'm on my way. So she come up there. And she was like, who told my son he couldn't go out there and try out? And then they let me try out, and I made the team. I still didn't like basketball. I thought basketball players were soft. Like, I hated basketball. Hated basketball with passion. And then 10th grade, ended up going to New Faith. I got homeschooled because 9th grade, I just wanted to go to school with my sister. We always talked about she was in the 12th, and I was going to be like in the 9th, and I was just going to go to school with her. So she went to the Army, and then I got homeschooled, ended up going to New Faith. And then after that, I stumbled upon Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy in like the 10th grade summer. And that's when I fell in love with the game because it was like 150 kids, K through 12, and it was 10 of us in our like class, or our graduation class, 9 boys, 1 girl. But we used to play basketball every day. Like, they actually loved the game. We all was the same age, so we would just compete. Like, we used to sneak in the gym. So, like, we used to get in trouble for sneaking in the gym, but we was like, man, we ain't trying to do nothing else but just hoop. And that's why I felt we used to wake up 5 a.m. and put up shots and just play. We would just stay in the gym, eat, just sleep in the gym, and just do gym. And I'm like, damn, maybe this is fun. And I still wasn't good until I ended up coming to TSF and transferred from like a 5 to like a guard.
I remember that transition.
Yeah, so that was a crazy transition in a year time.
Yep. Tell you. Pause it real quick, Mac. Them people done canceled this order. So we'll be right back though. We're gonna get to part 2. Kind of segue to the TSF part.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue.
All right. Good. Yeah. My fault. I thought we was just trialing. I went to order everybody pizza and wings, see where they at. They done sent me a receipt and cancel the order.
They cancel it?
That's foul.
Real foul.
So they ain't deliver it yet?
They're not going to deliver. They canceled it. So I'm gonna take them boys to Waffle House or something.
I'm finna go to IHOP if they want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take the van.
Man, I tried Waffle House when I first got back here.
Yeah.
That bacon tastes so different.
Oh, you don't know
Let me tell you why. The food was bad too, cause man, so I stopped eating bacon cause it give me nosebleeds and headaches. So
Nosebleed.
yeah, nosebleeds and headaches. So I ain't eat no pork. But then when I got to Europe, I tried that bacon. That bacon
Oh,
was
no.
crispy. I said, ooh. I said, oh yeah. That's the only thing I was eating. But and then after that, when I got back here, I'm like, yeah, it's not the same. Cause I guess cause a lot of this stuff is like raised in like they farms up north and stuff. So a lot of it was more fresher. But after that, yeah, I'm back to not eating bacon. That's the only pork I eat.
Boy,
They ain't
you-
have turkey bacon though.
You try that beef, you gotta have discipline to cut that bacon out. We gonna get you there.
Yeah.
Cut that. You just want that salt.
Yeah, that's
what
it. That's all it
That's
is.
it.
It's just that salty taste.
Try that beef bacon.
Cause like I was eating like when I was here in the States, I was eating turkey bacon. Like I don't eat pork because pork for some reason pork give me headaches and nosebleeds. But that salt, man, so good. It's so good.
Oh, we're gonna try Waffle House again. Unless these boys want IHOP.
24 people on the stream.
Oh, word?
Yeah, I'm taking photos of it every single time.
Damn.
I definitely could get some of the.
How you do?
European-
What you do live? Like what you?
What's the
You
link?
want to see it?
What's the link?
I can send it out.
Cause I definitely, cause you know this, they woke.
What's your number? I sent you the stream though, right?
Yeah, I thought you just sent it to watch.
No.
It's like 4.
Oh, we still on.
404
Yeah.
539
Mm-hmm.
2579.
No, it's pause. They just catching up, probably whoever seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's one thing I can say too. Them people in Europe, they do follow through and like touch bases and stuff like that. Like they kept telling me I need to vlog and stuff like that. Like the one teammate, he's like, you ever seen that show Everybody Love Raymond? Like everybody love Ronald. He's like, man, everywhere you go, people always. He's like everywhere you go, somebody saying you know somebody or something. And it was crazy because I think it was Micah. I was with Micah, right? And we went to Podgorica.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like he was talking with my old teammate Evo. I introduced him. He was like, he's like, man, this man knows somebody everywhere. Evo was telling him that. I'm like, man, y'all doing the most. We go for a walk to go get some food. I see somebody. I'm like, oh, Jesse, brother boy. And he talk about, see, look, I told you.
That is, but that's another thing though. The fact that you took time to learn that language.
Yeah.
It show a lot. Let's go grab some food. We gotta come back.
We gotta start this stuff earlier so we
Yeah.
get more people on that chain.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Me too.
Yeah.